Here are 6 things that you probably need to hear as a founder. I've compiled these 6 truths based upon the different fits that you need to achieve to be a successful startup founder, especially considering my experience with early stage founders, even more if you are trying to raise early stage funding. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang. I'm a 7-time funded founder with 2 exits. That's just a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times, and I like to share that because I've learned just as much from my failures as my successes, and that's to your benefit because I use videos like this and this YouTube channel to try and help founders, especially early stage founders, raising that early stage funding, avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but I'm going to try to make your life a little bit easier. I'm also the Chief Strategy Officer at startups.com. I've advised hundreds of founders and thousands of other founders have come through our program, and I'm here to help you. If you are here as part of startups.com, thank you so much for your support. If you're not, welcome. Feel free to check out startups.com, do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe. Let's jump into the 6 things that I think all founders need to hear, and I wish I heard in the beginning when I started my founder journey. First off, you are not a founder if you're not solving a real problem. And this goes to founder problem fit. And many founders can create solutions, but that doesn't mean that you can be a startup or a startup founder, especially if you're trying to raise funding. The problem that occurs is you end up creating a solution looking for a problem. And your solution might be absolutely fantastic. You might be one of the best coders in the world, but if it doesn't actually solve a real world problem, it doesn't solve a problem that's big enough, that's worthy enough of investment, or more people want it other than you, other than the idea that you think is cool, is not going to be worthwhile to be a startup. You're going to put a lot of effort in and you're going to be sorely disappointed. Many multi-time founders are going to explain to you that if it doesn't solve a legitimate problem, then you shouldn't have worked on it. And unfortunately, we all make that mistake. It's something that we all have to learn in creating solutions looking for problems. You want to start off with a problem, a real world problem, study it, and then create a solution. Most founders do it backwards. Next is just because you care about a problem doesn't mean you can solve it. I see so many founders care about a big problem, doesn't mean they're able to solve it. This is when a founder comes out and says, climate change is a problem. Finance is broken. Human capital management, employee engagement is broken. And you think you can go solve that problem. You're not. It's too big of a problem. Doesn't mean you can't solve a subset of the problem, but just because you care about something big doesn't mean you can solve it. Investors aren't going to believe it. When you put out a big, massive problem, usually those problems are so complex that unless you've got an omnipotent power and you're omniscient and you've got enough funds, we're talking Elon Musk levels of funds, you are not able to solve that problem. Elon Musk has been famous saying, I bought Twitter because I want to save democracy. Okay. You have the funds, you have the reach, you're Elon Musk, you can take a crack at solving democracy. But for the rest of us, we are not going to solve democracy. You're going to solve a very specific set of problems, and just because you care about it doesn't mean that you should be solving it or you can solve it. So you want to boil it down to a problem that you can solve, and that's how you get to problem solution fit. Next truth is you can't be a startup if you can't sell your product. And that is going out and get traction, hand-to-hand combat. If you can't sell the product, well, most likely you do not have founder market fit. And it's important we make a distinction. You may have founder problem fit. You can actually go and solve the problem. You may actually have problem solution fit. You've done your MVP and it does in fact solve the problem and it's been validated. But selling and distribution are completely different. Distribution is the other part of this pie, this other part of the formula that you need. And if you can't go out there and sell, you are not connected to the marketplace, you can't pick up the phone and get your initial users, you can't go and understand the competition, you're not involved in the industry, most likely you are not going to be able to sell your product, and investors are going to see that. And I know many people argue with me when we say, you as the founder, you are the best person to sell your product right in the beginning. I'm not saying forever. I know sales are scary, but if you can't talk about your product enough to get someone to actually buy it or try it, and you're not willing to go out there, you're not going to get the feedback that you need to do this continuous development cycle to put into your product. They say at Y Combinator, they say you should be doing 2 things. You should be shipping product and you should be talking to customers. And if you're unwilling to go talk to customers, then nobody's going to help you. You are not going to have the foundation you need as a founder. If you can't sell it, you're not going to be a startup. That's just the reality of it. So go out and sell at least initially to learn, get that initial traction, and show the investors that you can do it. If you have to say and convince other people that you have product market fit, it probably means you don't have product market fit. Product market fit is just something you know you have. You don't have to talk about it. Let's examine all the pieces that go into product market fit. This is not exhaustive, but product market fit means you're selling the product and you're selling it at the price that you think you're going to sell, where it makes it easy for people to buy. You've got distribution, you've got the channels, you've got virality with your product. People are referring other people to you. You're not just spending all the money. You're not spending $1 to get another dollar, maybe $1.10 out. That's not product market fit. It's selling itself. You've got so much sales going on that you're worried that your startup is going to shut down. You can't ship product fast enough. You can't do enough customer service. You can't deliver enough. Your servers are going to melt down. Those are signs that you got product market fit. You've got customers who say they love your product, and if your product disappeared, they'd be so disappointed. And they're going to tell you exactly what that is, what those features are. They're giving you feedback. The customer service calls and the inquiries that you get are slightly different. They're not about this doesn't work. They're about, hey, I really love this. How else can I use it? What are some other things that I should be looking at? They're more inquisitive. They want to explore your product. Another factor, users come to you and say, you know what, I found another way to use your product and I just wanted to let you know. That's one of the best parts of getting a product market fit, is that typically what happens is you're surprised at how users understand your product and how they use your product. That means you're paying attention to the data, which means you've been selling the product, which is all the other things that we've been talking about up to this point in time. Finally, you are on the verge of profitability. You are seeing it. You're getting to the point of break even. Because if you have this right, you've got the right price point, you've got your cost of goods sold narrowed down, and you're actually able to turn a profit. Not saying that you have to turn a profit, but you know how to get there so you can tell investors that's the sign of product market fit. So there's so many things that go into it that you don't have to say a product market fit. You just have to show your traction numbers. This is how much we're growing week over week. These are the testimonials. This is what's going on. This is the virality of it. This is when we put in $1, we get $5 out in terms of return on ad spend. You're sharing all those metrics and all that piles up. And guess what? Everybody else will know you have product market fit. But if you have to go out there and say it, don't say it. I see founders saying, oh, we've reached product market fit. And immediately I say, no, you haven't. That automatically puts my back up against the wall. I start to bristle and I get suspicious, because if you have to tell me something, what are you not telling me? What are you embellishing? And typically that is the case. So don't say you have product market fit. Go out and get the traction, show the metrics, show the results, and product market fit will take care of itself. Once you get to product market fit, it's yours to lose. And typically you're not even talking about it. You're so busy. You have a hair on fire scenario. That's when you know you've got product market fit. You won't be thinking about scale for a very, very long time. I'm going to repeat that, a very long time. So do things that don't scale first. This goes back to founder market fit. This goes back to you selling. Don't worry about scale. I see founders try and scale way too prematurely, and then they end up scaling all the wrong things. They burn through their runway. Don't worry about it. That is so far along your journey. Investors are going to be way more excited about product market fit, way more excited about you talking to customers and de-risking the investment rather than you actually saying, how do I scale? Let's get back to do things that don't scale first. There are a few reasons you want to do that. First, you are getting up close and comfortable with your customers. They're giving you feedback and you are informing your product development cycle. They are telling you their complaints. You know when your assumptions are invalidated, and you have the soft heart and the thick skin to stand there and let customers invalidate you, especially when it comes to price. The best feedback that you are ever going to get is when you tell the customers the price. So start trying to sell it right away. Back to the original truth that I was talking about. When you're selling your product, that's how you become a startup. The next thing, you're going to find out what you need to scale, because you're going to get that feedback. You're going to know what you should double down on as far as scaling is concerned. Don't do that. How many times have I created a feature that I thought was a great idea in my head, but I wasn't talking to customers. I wasn't trying things manually. You're going to save a whole bunch of money. I just thought it was a good idea. I threw some money at it, and there's still features on software that I've developed that are not used to this day, and it pains me to look at them. Finally, One overlooked aspect of doing things that don't scale has to do with your competition. If you're ready to get into the nitty-gritty and have one-on-one conversations, chances are your competitors are not doing it because they're already on their business model. They're already rolling along. If you can go in and do something that they're not willing to do, they may say, you know what, that feature, we're just not going to do it. We're not set up for it. We don't want to invest in it. We don't want to solve that problem. And you find a crack. You find that little entry point that you can wedge in there into your competition because they're not looking at it or they think it's a totally dumb idea. Think Blockbuster said, why would we deliver videos and let people not pay late fees? That's not in our business model. We need people to pay late fees. That was Blockbuster, and they need to protect that. So they're not going to go do the other stuff that Netflix did. They're not going to stuff DVDs way back in the day into envelopes and send out packages. They're not set up for it. So that's something that did not scale because stuffing DVDs in envelopes does not scale at all. The scalability came later when they delivered video online, and that's how Netflix went and ate Blockbuster's lunch. If you're willing to get in there and do things that don't scale, chances are your competitors aren't going to be looking. You're going to find that wedge, and that is going to help you get product market fit, and then later on start thinking about business model fit. What are all those scalable solutions that you need to employ to get to maximum profitability and make all those investors happy? Because they need you to 100x their money. But first, worry about the things that don't scale first. Then you know what to invest in to get to scale. The last thing that you probably need to hear is that investors do not guarantee success and will not rescue you. In fact, investor at the wrong time can have the opposite effect. I had someone that bought my company. He owned a family office. We're talking billions of dollars. And he said, Ed, access to too much capital leads to undisciplined decisions. Also, getting investors on board at the wrong time can put so much pressure on you that you end up trying to run your startup according to making investors happy. There is a lot of data out there that VC actually tanks startups faster than anything else because they're wanting you to scale. They're wanting you to light their capital on fire so they can buy more of your company. They want you to spend 50 cents of every dollar on paid advertising so you can show that hyper growth. And you might be doing all that and ignoring some other key things that you're hearing in the marketplace, or ignoring what competition is doing, ignoring that feedback, ignoring the effort that it takes to create that one killer feature because you're so busy about hyper growth because investors are breathing down your neck. But most importantly, I see founders out there thinking that investors are going to rescue them. They think if I just raise that $500,000 or that $100,000, that investors are going to come rescue them. I talked to a founder yesterday and saying, you know what? I just need money so that I can go make my prototype. I said, then go raise that money. Don't work on your startup until you have that money. But I need investors to do that. No, you technically don't, because one investor is going to believe that if they take the risk for you to go and figure things out, I'm not going to allow my money to be spent that way if I'm an investor. I want to invest in things that I know are on a track record of working out, that founders have figured out, and all I'm doing is pouring gasoline on the fire. If you tell investors that I can't do anything until I get investment, they're going to be thinking, well, what type of founder are you? Are you just going to light my capital on fire and then come back to me and say I can't do anything else if you don't give me more money? If you can show investors that you are willing to do what it takes, then the investors will be able to fit with you. That's what we call investor-founder fit. Not all investors are created equal. VC can crush a company because it's not a good fit for you. But if you do everything you can without investment, you'll know what you need. You'll probably be a lot more disciplined with your capital. You won't have to take so much money in. You won't have to sell so much of your company and dilute your company. All the spoils will go to you. So before you go out and get that investor, learn about your startup, learn about your customer, learn how to solve their problems, learn all the things that don't scale, and then start to have an understanding of what does scale by making proper bets, and then go out and talk to investors, and you won't be in a position where you're desperate. There won't be this power dynamic where you need them more than they need you. You're going to say, you know what? I'm pretty profitable right now. I don't need it. I could just develop a really nice business that's going to make $2, $5, $10 million. But if you do give me your money, I have a plan to get us to $100 million. That's the best time to talk to an investor when you don't have money needs, you're not out of runway, you don't need the funding. Then you can develop the right relationship with that investor and find out if they fit with you when you're not desperate. That's the worst time to bring on an investor because you're not bringing on money, you're hiring your own boss. Your boss is going to be looking over your shoulder, and so many founders don't even think about that. They just think, I need an investor, so I'm going to come up with a solution, I'm going to pitch it, and I'm going to be mad that investors don't want to invest because I need that investor, and now you've got such a strange relationship with funding that it doesn't work out. Avoid that. So those are the 6 truths. Those are the 6 things that you probably need to hear that I wish I heard. Stick around, watch some other videos on my channel. I've got more content coming around like this, and I look forward to sharing with you. Thanks again. I will see you in the next video.